Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. He's very witty. He really is. But they're so confident in what they do. They didn't put their sketches together until like the day before the show. You know, they were so worried about everybody else. They're like, don't worry, we can come up with something out of our butts in 5 minutes. I think that we did. I think they both had a singing.
I almost got that high score.
Well, they convinced me it's a huge
Almost. I must have pumped in my recorders.
So
little kid wants to get out of here.
Wait your turn.
That man over there.
Yo.
I felt bad when she was like, kept saying like, one more quarter. He wants to keep it going and hit press.
Oh, yeah. I think I had the RoboCop one.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like Commissioner Gatson.
Make a motion to excuse Commissioner Stroh.
Oh, you're
Second.
reading my mind. Thank you. Motion's been made by Commissioner Patterson and supported by Commissioner Catane to excuse Commissioner Stroh. He has other business that, or is ill, I'm not sure what, but he's not able to make it tonight. So, discussion? Any? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's carried. Okay. Approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve tonight's agenda, May 1st, 2023.
Support. Motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Swindell. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Now for the minutes.
I'll move the minutes of the regular meeting, April 17th, 2023, and the budget workshop held April 22nd, 2023.
Support.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Patterson. Is there discussion on those? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried as well. Now's the time in our agenda for the public comments. And just raise your hand and come to the podium because we can, the audience that is listening into our meeting can hear you better. No? You're good? All right. Okay. We'll move on then to the bill listing.
Make a motion to approve the bill listing for May 1st, 2023 in the amount of $460,262.08.
Support. 6 cents.
6 cents, I'm sorry.
Correction. There you go, 6 cents. That's what he meant. That's 6 cents.
Nice home. Hi, folks.
Yes, sir. Josh.
Okay.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Patterson and supported by Commissioner Atwood. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Okay. Administrative reports, we need to set a public hearing.
I'll take it, Madam Mayor. I'll make a motion to approve setting a public hearing on May 15th, 2023 at 6:30 PM or as soon thereafter as may be heard regarding the fiscal year 23-24 City of Lapeer budget, the first year of the proposed 23 to 2028 capital improvement plan, and the fee schedule.
Support. The motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Swindell. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. The Michigan State Housing Development Authority grant application resolution. Fantastic that we're able to get those funds. Commissioner Patterson.
Okay, make a motion to adopt the resolution in support of the Housing Department applying for the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, MISTA, for statewide MISTA investing in community housing Michigan in the amount of $110,000.
Support.
The motion was made by Commissioner Patterson and supported by Commissioner Catane. Is there any discussion? Would you like to ask any questions? Do you want to make it stick?
What's it?
It really is as reported, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is the grant that will need to have a component of ADA for disability in the home. So it'll be the one hopefully for us to have new, different.
Great. Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate you and your team. Okay, number 3 is the Center for the Arts of Greater Lapeer.
Make a motion to approve the funding agreement for the Center of the Arts of Greater Lapeer for program services.
Support. Okay, the motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Swindell. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, then we have the Monroe Street Bridge Maintenance contract. Commissioner Patterson.
Make a motion to adopt the municipal resolution for acceptance of MDOT contract number 23-5089 for local bridge program funds for the Monroe Street Bridge Maintenance Project and authorize the interim city manager and director of public works to sign all required documents.
Support.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner Patterson and supported by Commissioner Atwood. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Then we have the Genesee Street Bridge, the Spicer Group Design Engineering Contract. Did I miss something?
You did.
Genesee Water Main.
Number 5. Genesee Street Water Main Construction Contract.
Stuck on the
First.
road. I'll make a motion to approve awarding Genesee Street Water Main construction contract to Cooper Excavating contingent upon the city of Lapeer receiving the Community Development Block Grant or CDBG funds.
Support.
Motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Patterson. Is there discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried as well. Now we can go to 6, the Genesee Street Bridge portion, Spicer Group Design Engineering Contract. Commissioner Patterson.
Okay, make a motion to approve the contract between Spicer Group and the city of Lapeer for survey, preliminary engineering, and design engineering services in the amount of $103,600 and authorize the interim city manager to sign the necessary documents.
Support.
Motion was made by Commissioner Patterson and supported by Commissioner Catane. Is there any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those. Oh, sorry.
If we don't if we don't get that block grant for the motion above, will that somehow interfere with the bridge?
These are two different projects.
Are they gonna try and happen at the same time, or?
No, the Genesee Street Bridge, that's not planned until 2026.
Okay.
Does that answer all the
Yeah.
questions? Any others? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, then under city manager's report. Yes, Kelly.
So at the budget work session, it was discussed for me to reach out to the Center for the Arts on what they would spend an additional $5,000 of one-time funding. So they have indicated that they would use that money specifically for advertising in the Oakland County Press as well as the View newspaper, which would include the surrounding areas. So at this point, I would seek direction on if you would like me to modify add this additional $5,000 to the 23-24 budget that you'll be adopting in 2 weeks.
Discussion? Commissioner Passman?
My first question is, it's okay to do it without it being, we could modify the budget now. Okay, yeah, I'd have no problem at all with
Anybody else?
Yeah,
There was some discussion before I left on whether you were gonna get more for other programs. I don't know what happened with that during the budget, but.
Preliminary conversation we happened between Mr. Atwood and Mr. Stroh regarding what we can give them more, because the CFA has entered into a summer program for the first time this year. And the initial, I think Commissioner Stroh's initial reaction is $5,000 is not gonna be enough for success. Which I have no problem supporting the CFA and its endeavors. Was hoping to hear more than just we're gonna advertise more in the newspaper. You know, that's my only feedback on this feedback they're sending us.
Well, having them advertise more also, hopefully would have the possibility then of more people noticing what the programming is. And then in which turn, if more people come to the shows, brings in more revenue. I guess that's how I look at it. Commissioner Passman?
I'd like to make a motion to approve $5,000 budget adjustment for the CFA for advertising for the summer programs.
support.
Motion was made by Commissioner Patterson and supported by Commissioner Atwood. Is there further discussion?
So just to clarify, this is just a one-time thing, right? And then probably discussion next year on whether to give it again or just add it to their budget. Okay.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried.
Okay, and included in your packet was a letter from Jason Paul with Rowe regarding the 201 Jefferson project. Jason and I, we've met with MEDC as well as the Michigan Municipal League. As you may recall, the city did not receive any full response to the original RFQ, and their feeling on why the city did not receive a full response was largely because of items out of our control. You know, the cost of construction was very high, materials, you know, there's delay, possibly the COVID-19 pandemic as well. Jason and I have been meeting with developers. Since this whole discussion has began, we've received a couple different inquiries about the project. There's one developer that has indicated they may be submitting a proposal to the city. We've encouraged them to do their due diligence, and then we'll bring forward any proposals that we receive. We've not received anything formal yet, but they do seem very interested, and we've provided them documents they want to see, like the surveys and the work that was done. So it is moving forward in the we have nothing formal at this time, but the city could also decide to re-release the RFQ. But until, you know, I figured when Mike gets on board, he might have ideas, and of course I'll turn this over to him. But that's where we're at this time. Do you have any questions for Phil? Okay, good job. Next, the Youth Council was asked to be back on the agenda this evening. Included in your packet were minutes. I also included some funding history of what I could find that the city has received and spent over the, since it's been implemented. And I will turn it over. I have nothing further to add on this.
Marlena, give us an update, please. So Ramona was cleaning some drawers and she found this folder of minutes, and then she just found the bylaws as well. The current ones, they were changed a couple times, but the current bylaws with the, and she said that, she told me that, because it says 7 to 11, 7 is always a quorum, so there's, I don't know how many of the meeting minutes had 7, but I don't even think they had enough in the beginning to make the quorum, to make the bylaws. So I have been to the high school so far in Roland Warner. The kids just had 2 weeks of testing, state testing, and all kinds of testing. I still have Roland Warner and Chatfield, and homeschool group. And I've had good response. I haven't had any kids email me their thing. I did Zemmer Thursday in the high school, not until this morning. I had a good response from a lot of the high school kids, but I have certainly had that before and not gotten anything from them. I get their phone numbers and their emails, and I email and text them because that's how you reach a teenager, and they just ghost you and go away. But I'm hoping this round will get us 6 more.
And how many are we at right now? Are we at 6 now?
Technically 5, but 2 I can't reach.
So work in progress. We have 2 more schools.
Yep, and I just did Thursday and today. The high school was a lot better of a response than the Zemmer building from the kids, besides that they wanted my snacks. They had a lot more questions. They were a lot more interested in just what it was and whatever. It was just a different experience. Moving that 1 year up in school was a lot different. We'll see what happens when I go to the Roland Warner building, and because half of those kids are about 13 too. So,
Is there any questions from the commission? Moving along. Is there any other items you need from City Hall?
Miss Tracy made me copies this morning.
Ramona, could you see to, or whomever, assign whomever, to get us copies of the bylaws as well at some point? Please. Commissioner Passen.
It is frustrating. We've had a youth council, looking at the minutes since December 17. We've had a total of 16 meetings. The last one was January 2020. Unfortunately, it's just,
That was cool.
it's not, I understand it was COVID, but we really have to look at whether or not this is something that's working. We've spent a lot of time on something that doesn't exist. It's been 3 years.
Do you have suggestions of something we could do differently?
One thing I can see is we possibly could consider changing the membership numbers. I was looking also through the minutes of the previous meetings. The most I ever saw at a meeting was 5, which isn't a quorum. So we've never reached quorum. I mean, I think, I have nothing against the idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. But it's not working, and I don't think we can blame the parents or the schools. The kids just aren't coming on board.
It could be that it's a function of that they have so many, other things that they have to do and requirements, honor society, and I don't know.
And that's true, but again, do we continue having this discussion and having a quote-unquote youth council when we don't? We have, you know, they've got $2,000 of donated money and $3,000 now.
It has been 3 from Kiwanis.
Yes.
Okay, that's just sitting there. That could go to a different project. If they're not gonna use it, maybe we should.
Well,
look at it.
Well-
it's gonna go back.
They would have to
It's
go
not
back.
possible.
We can't.
Understand, that's what I mean. If they're
Anywhere
not
else.
gonna use it, it needs to go back. It's not fair to Kiwanis. So we need to make a decision. I feel based on reality that it's not working right now. Maybe we should either change it and make it smaller or consider moving on.
I have no problem with reducing the number, but, you know, Marlene is meeting with some of these students, and until that piece is done, we should at least hang up for that, but we could change the number. Commissioner Katane,
7's the minimum that we want to staff, but 4 is the quorum, the majority, correct?
That's not what Ramon told me.
So we gotta have 7 in order to have a meeting. Okay. When did you finally get into the schools to start talking to kids?
Thursday and today.
This past week? The first time you were able to get
Now, I
into the
did see
schools?
some that I know their parents and they said, I'm famous for volunteering people to do things, right?
Right.
You get voluntold that you're gonna volunteer. And some of these kids know that about me. And they said, you're gonna make my mom voluntold me for this, aren't you? And I said, probably. They're like, okay.
I'm looking at it this way, this responsibility has come to you not 6-7 months ago. So what is your position?
I say give it another, let me get into the other 2 schools in the next 2 weeks and revisit maybe in a month and see if we get any to a point.
Okay.
I will be texting them and emailing them as well, kind of bugging, hey, remember, and we talked, and those kinds of things, blasting to the kids, so, and then after that, I even said, when we discussed it initially, and Josh said to reduce the numbers, and I didn't think it was fair that we required way more kids than we have, there's 5 of us. And we need, there's 3 of us that can make decisions, and we needed, that's a lot of kids. That's a lot more requirement than we have in our charter for us. And just that it is, kids are busy. That's why I'm aiming at sort of the younger kids, because they're not as busy, quite as busy yet. But they're still busy. They are all they're in sports, and the kids that are active and interested are the ones that are really busy already. But I've had a better response than I have in the past from the kids. Maybe I took better snacks, better juice boxes, I'm not sure. But I've definitely had a better response this trip around.
I'm of the position to allow her the time, now that she's just getting into the schools, and if it is Commissioner Swindell's opinion to say, hey, we need to make a change here in a month or 2, I'd support it, but she literally just got into the schools for the first time since being appointed to this last week. So, plus having, I remember in previous conversations, multitudes of phone calls to the prior members of the youth council trying to make communication or connection with them as cost release. I'm balls in her court. That's where I'm at.
Commissioner Passen.
I have no problem if we can get this to work.
Mhm.
But I don't think we need to throw the ball completely into one commissioner's court. I think we as a city commission need to look at possibly making sure this can work.
Okay.
So I think we really need to go over the ordinance, give you all a full chance if you can't get 7, but we have to sit down and determine what we want the youth council to do. Because looking at the minutes from the previous meetings that were held
Mhm.
and the ordinance, it's not doing what we want it to do. It never really has. So if we are successful, let's make sure it works.
Absolutely.
It sounds like would you like a subcommittee to kind of work on
Marlena,
Kelly, or
no, honestly, you're welcome to ask all of us at any time. We'll help you on it. I think we're all open to it, rather than a subcommittee.
well, we are all open to it, but I was just wondering if you wanted to get some more ideas. Okay. Well, you can always do that at some point. So we're just gonna put it on, to continue to move forward, I guess.
No, I want to move forward, but I really think we just need to actually have a deadline. Are we going to drag this out for another 4 years without having the youth council talking about it every 4 months?
Mhm.
It's unfortunate, but that's what we've done.
It schools out in a month or less for many of the kids.
Yeah. So I think
So,
by the beginning of the school year next year,
let's revisit when the school year's over in June for a conversation. And, you know, Marlena can, you know, give us some feedback. And of course, and again, like Jeff said, if you need help, you can reach out to each of us individually. We're happy to help. And why?
Kelly, do you have any idea on how many other cities, municipalities have youth councils? Have we ever researched that? And if so, what are they doing differently that's working that we are not?
MML would know maybe.
I
Yeah.
can look into that and get back to you. Sure.
Because that might help us. Maybe there's only a couple. Did you ever have a chance to do any of that, Commissioner Alley?
Yeah, I reached out to a different municipality, but I was removed from the new council, so.
Okay, so that was rated at 10 4 years.
A bit nasally.
Okay, just asking if there's anything else you want to add. so let us know. Is there any other matters?
Just a couple brief announcements. I've signed an extension to the purchase agreement for the sale of the I-69 land, allowing them until June 15th to close on that. So that's still projected to move forward. Starting this week, the DPW will be working on repairing driveways that were damaged during the lead water investigation. So that's going to be starting up here this week. And that was all.
Are we done with houses now? That we know of, or is there still?
No, it's still ongoing.
Still a lot.
Yeah, we're still working on them. They're just going through the ones that are already completely, got to get back in order for people.
Okay.
We're probably about, close to 50% done.
Oh, that's great. That's it. All right, now we're to our city attorney's report. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, I have nothing to report.
Okay. And then go to our appointments for the boards. And I have in front of me recommendation from the DDA for filling their vacancy, the 3 vacancies. And I would like to appoint Mindy Schwab, Elizabeth Moffett, and Megan Gillingham. And their term, new term expiration will be January 1st, 2025. And I would like 2 commissioners to approve.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mindy Schwab, Elizabeth Moffett, and Megan Gillingham to the DDA, Downtown Development Authority, terms expiring January 1st, 2025.
Support. Motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Swindell. Any discussion? Commissioner Atwood?
On Megan's application, she applied on 2/22/23. How come there was such a,
2/22/23.
yeah. Well, maybe she didn't turn it in then.
I don't know that. Let's see.
No, it says February 27th it was received.
Mhm.
But how come there was a delay from us approving it? Was it the DDA just wasn't ready to wait?
I wasn't,
Or maybe there wasn't an opening then or something?
there was, not sure if there was an opening then or not. I wasn't at the last meeting with the DDA. But there might have been more business, or it just didn't meet the right timeline, you know, to get it submitted to here. I'd have to research that,
Okay.
and I can get back to you on that.
Yeah, I got no problem. I was just wondering why there was the delay there.
I'm not sure. Check into it.
Thanks.
Okay, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, then under the commissioner appointments, we need a motion to accept the resignation of Dan Tharrington on the zoning board of appeals and declare that seat vacant.
Fine.
Somebody.
Fine. I accept the resignation of Mr. Dan Farrington from the Zoning Board of Appeals. No, but we accept his resignation. That is my motion. I just declare the seat empty. I'm not upset about it at all.
Is there support?
Support.
I know we don't want Dan to go.
I don't.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner Catane and supported by Commissioner Atwood. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, and there are no other appointments for this evening. Okay, and then in your packet was information from Jim Alt on the Downtown Development Authority, the quarterly financial report, and the quarterly investment report. So that brings us to public comments, back to public comments. Is there a comment? Hearing none, then we'll move on. And I guess we're to closing comments from the commissioners. Start with Commissioner Catane.
Fine. My thanks to everybody in the community who came out to the Kiwanis Club, Kiwanis Capers Show. It was a lot of work, and it was very successful from the club. They really put in a lot. You know, that's 5 hours. It's 5 hours of your evenings, 6 out of 7 days that week for that show to go off. Plus other people that we strong arm and beg and plead to help us with sound and lighting and all this other stuff. So just my gratitude to the club and to the community for that show going on for 75 years. COVID doesn't count. But it's still the longest running show of the Kiwanian group in the USA, and that's pretty cool that it's our Kiwanis Club that's got the longest running show. This last week, a nightmare came true. My mother ended up with COVID. And, but God's got us, because my mother was never put on oxygen. She was in the hospital for 6 days, and the doctors keep coming in every hour or two and looking at her like she's a dang miracle, because she's never had to get put on oxygen. With all the other many medical issues she's had in her life, she's a petri dish. She really is. And she's home now and happy to have a good cup of coffee. And that was her number one complaint the whole time: the coffee at the hospital sucks. And so I just want my family to the healthcare professionals out there, thank you for everything you guys did in 2020. I think our society is, the war with COVID's over, but COVID's not gone. There's still people out there susceptible to it. So just try to be mindful and courteous to people who are susceptible to it. And I'm grateful she's home and she's healthy. That's it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that side of town with vehicles on it. With Axcadia opening up. And I just told my wife the other day, I'm like, every time I come downtown, you got the restaurant on down with cars, and then that way, and there's like hardly any. I'm like, it's nice to see it kind of filling out on both ends of town.
Yes.
And then with the new Mexican restaurant coming into, that will expand that even farther. So that's it. Lots of exciting things happening right now.
Yes. City's moving along. Commissioner Swindle?
I am excited and hopeful about the youth council, and I will ask for help, because next comes a party in the park when the kids get out of school. There are a lot of things going on in the city. There are a lot of new businesses opening. I stopped into Axcadia to their grand opening. Shango moved, and I stopped into their grand opening this weekend. And there are so many projects in town and so many small business owners that are betting their money here and believing in their community, and we should be very helpful to them, which we have been, and they are all more than happy to be here, and I am more than happy to have them. And if you haven't been to Axcadia, you have to make a reservation and check it out, because it's really fun.
So you did the axe throwing?
No, I watched them do that, but they have pinballs, so I was just as happy.
Well, we talked about youth council today, and that's an opportunity for city youth to get involved in running their city. And if they can join and would join, it would help us a lot. But we also have a lot of other commissions and boards in the city that need volunteers. And rather than posting on social media how terrible or bad or problems there are in the city, step up, join, fill out an application at the city and help us. It would be appreciated. That's all I have.
It has been my pleasure to serve as the interim city manager over the last 5-6 weeks. I am looking forward to handing the ship over to Mike next Monday. So this should be my last meeting.
All right, my turn. Yes, thank you, Kelly, for stepping in and being our interim manager. You've been a pleasure to work with. And then, I'm glad that you're our finance director, so that you're not
Not going anywhere.
It's been nice to get to know you a little bit more and to work with you more on this. It's been a pleasure. You've done a great job. I missed a couple of different openings, I missed a couple meetings. Apologize, but family comes first and I had to go where it was cold in Minnesota, so, it is what it is. But I'm back and hopefully we'll be able to attend more things. So, and with that, I guess,
Motion to adjourn.
okay,
Very
motion's been made. Meeting is adjourned.
You don't even get it out of your mouth.
I was like, nope, nope,
ready.
there's a spark in her eye and she looks at me. And sometimes I catch it, sometimes I don't.